If one was to pay only the minimum monthly payments, they would pay about $275,723 in interest over the period of those loans. Think about how much time and labor has to be traded in order to pay off that amount just to have a car and a house. Sure, one doesn't actually need these things to survive, but realistically speaking, they do. One needs transportation in order to go to their job. One needs a safe place to lay their head down with some basic necessities. Essentially, people are punished with interest in order to participate in a society that demands certain things from them. Don't get me wrong, I understand the value of debt and how it has afforded people with many opportunities they normally wouldn't have had. I get that debt can be leveraged in certain ways to create opportunity. I understand that people should make a return on their investment. I also understand that lending money comes at a price, but when that price creates a debt slave, we have issues. I have my own ideas on how we should restructure the way we offer credit to people in order to make it less burdensome, but that's a whole other topic. Also, I'm not going to go into how the credit rating system also makes it incredibly difficult for some to leave the rat race. I just wanted to paint a general overview of this rat race and how the majority of Americans fall into it. On the other hand, are the individuals who live the fantasized American dream. They experience a freedom that is referred to as financial freedom. These individuals build wealth generating entities that earn money and value even when no one is attending to them. They own massive amounts of lands, property, both physical and intellectual, or stocks and bonds. They no longer have to work every day if they choose not to because their assets generate wealth regardless. When the left talks about the top 1%, these individuals usually fall in this category. They don't work for wages. They believe that wages keep them enslaved to someone else. They view their time as their ultimate commodity, and they want to squeeze every last drop of value from every second that they spend. They want to know that when they work hard, their efforts will be rewarded proportionally or exponentially to the time invested. They want to build wealth generating entities that require minimal work. They will find ways to get around borrowing money because interest is just money being thrown in the trash. They use debt to leverage their investments. They don't like massive amounts of money because it loses value over time, even with interest being paid on them. They have a completely different mindset when it comes to the idea of wealth. I have nothing against these individuals if they truly started from square one and built their life from that. It is only fair that their sacrifices be rewarded. The common stories about the humble beginnings of Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are inspirational in what the American dream is all about. People having the freedom to create and build their dreams, the ability to climb the social and economic classes from which you were born into. However, this is where I begin to have my grievances. Not because I'm jealous, nor because I envy them. No, it's because I'm looking towards the future of this country and that the human race. In this country, those that hold the wealth have a greater influence on all matters in our system. It costs a lot of money to be poor or in the rat race. The wealthy live a different life and are afforded more opportunities and at less cost than the rest of the country. Take access to money. I know I said I wasn't going to dive into the credit score rating because it makes a valid point here. Having good credit means that you'll be able to be approved more often. It also means that the cost of borrowing money is significantly cheaper. You're penalized for not having credit or having poor credit. I'm not saying that credit agencies do not take risk at lending money to people and that risk shouldn't be monetized through interest rates. I'm not saying that people who do not understand how to budget and don't know the difference between wants and needs should not have a consequence. I'm not saying people who are bad at paying their bills should not be deterred from borrowing money through high interest rates, but sometimes shit happens. When life throws a medical emergency and you lose your job, sometimes things are out of your control. For this example, I'm going to use a car mortgage calculator to show the difference that credit scores can make. I will use a $25,000 car with no trade-in or money down in a 60-month agreement. The funny thing is, when I chose the lowest credit score, it suggested buy a used car and then refinancing it after 6 to 12 months. Look at the stark difference between the 661 and the 660 score. It's an almost $2,000 difference. With housing, it's even worse. This chart shows that the difference between the best score and the lowest score is about a $120 difference in monthly payments and almost $50,000 extra in interest over the period of the loan. I get that you can refinance and improve your score over time, but I'm merely making a point. The cost of borrowing money is much more when your credit score is lower. Now, just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you have a high credit score, but having a lower credit score does affect your ability to generate wealth over time. The wealthy also receives more as consumers. Take celebrities, for example. Most of their clothing and jewelry they wear on the red carpet is loaned to them for the sake of advertising. They get free shit all the time in hopes that having a well-known celebrity will drive up their sales, and it does. Free things are just sent to them all the time. They get higher-end services at no extra charge, and they get benefits and rewards that other people have to pay and work for. Now, I know I'll hear a counter argument that they spend a lot more than the average American as well, but to counter that, I will use the same rhetoric that is used on the lower class. No one says they have to. No one says they have to drop $20,000 for a dinner. No one says they have to drive Bentleys or Ferraris. These things are optional and are most likely status signaling to others. Wealthy people have access to larger networks of people. This comes with the territory of having a great amount of wealth. People want to be around successful people, and in a culture that values wealth and views it as a sign of success, people tend to gravitate towards them. This directly equates to having a bigger and broader impact when someone has an idea. When Bill Gates has an idea, people listen to him. They flock towards any opportunity to help that idea come to fruition, even if it's a bad idea. As long as people make some money off of it, it doesn't matter. We have this idea that in a free market, the best ideas will eventually beat out the rest. The bad ideas will fall out of favor. This is the invisible hand that guides the market. Through the advancement of game theory, we now know what drives the invisible hand. It's rational actors. I also like Peter Kaufman, who's another YouTuber. I like his idea that attention is what drives the marketplace. As long as an idea gets enough attention, the marketplace will gravitate around it. The rise of Trump is a perfect example. This is why many people harp on the importance of your network. Networks have the ability to spread attention. This is why the Ice Bucket Challenge got so popular a couple years ago. It was given massive amounts of attention out of nowhere, and all of a sudden ALS was a serious issue. Since then, when was the last time anyone talked about ALS? My point exactly. It no longer has any attention given to it. This is why we have holidays and national awareness days. It drives attention to a particular idea to promote it. Wealthy individuals have a huge network because of their wealth and influence. The random guy down the street who comes up with an idea to make the world a better place is going to have a much harder time trying to make that a reality. This guy may actually be able to solve world hunger, but more than likely his idea will not gain enough attention and eventually will be shut out of the marketplace. Compare that to if Bill Gates had come up with the same idea, and you know where I'm going with this. One of the biggest problems I have with this network is their access to the individuals that create law and policy in this country. Billions of dollars are spent on elections every year. All data being presented from here on out is going to be from 2018 if it's not already numbered, and obtained from opensecrets.org. So where does the majority of this money go? To incumbents. Look at that. Look at all that money going to the incumbents. And guess who normally sticks with incumbents? PACs. Look at all those PACs donating about 95% to incumbents. Now, before I go any further, I should probably describe what a PAC is. PACs are a type of organization that pulls campaign contributions from members and donates those funds to campaigns for or against candidates, ballot initiatives, or legislation. PACs are regulated in how much they can give to a particular candidate, party, or other PAC. However, they have an unlimited spending capacity on expenditures individually of a candidate. This is the total receipts of PACs in 2018 in the 2017-2018 election cycle. Notice how much of the money some of these individuals have raised just from their PACs alone. Many of them, it's almost half of the total amount of money raised. Let's dive even further. Let's look at super PACs, technically known as independent expenditure only committees. Super PACs may raise unlimited sums of money from corporations, unions, associations, and individuals, then spend unlimited sums to overtly advocate for or against political candidates. Unlike traditional PACs, super PACs are prohibited from donating money directly to political candidates, and their spending must not be coordinated with that of any of the candidates they benefit. According to OpenSecrets.org, as of May 8, 2018, 1,933 groups organized as super PACs have reported total receipts of $381,962,434 and total independent expenditures of $79,354,246,000 in the 2018 cycle. These are some of the top super PACs. So, I pointed out how much money PACs collect and spend on expenditures. What else is important is looking at where the majority of money comes from each individual campaign. Here, you can see that almost half of the money given to congressional campaigns come from PACs and individual contributions of $200 and more. This next series of charts show how excess money from one candidate's campaign is then spread to other areas of the political system. These individuals usually have no challengers and are very low risk of losing their seat. So they donate their extra money to races around the nation that need it. So incumbents not only enjoy the majority of campaign fundraising, but they also spread that money around to others when needed. Incumbents rarely ever lose, and money is a big predictor in how races will turn out. This isn't always the case, but generally speaking, it holds true. All of this leads up to my next and final point on the influence of money and wealth in politics. Look at how much individual contributions are given. Now, if the money didn't have a correlation to influence, why would all these individuals be donating so much money to the political system? I mean, who has a couple $1,000,000 to drop on a political race laying around? If these individuals never gain from putting their money in the pot, why do they still continue to donate so much? Then these individuals can also donate through their companies as well.